Sounds like you guys have a pretty limited interaction with women during most of your workday. What's that like? I mean, how are women treated on job sites? Like, what's it like to do construction and have women on the site?
I mean, my honest answer on the job site we have right now, you know, is I've seen some stuff that'll probably touch my soul if I was a woman. You know, they choose to draw pictures on the wall of the woman and not so flattering pictures at that.
Like women you're working with, those women, they draw pictures of those women?
Yeah, on this job in particular, yes. Pictures of them with words and sentences that's not so flattering, you know.
Like what kind of words and sentences?
Well, in particular, it's one lady that I won't name her, but they have a picture of her, you know, basically saying the stuff they want to do to her on the wall, you know, for everybody to see. And if it was me, it would, you know, piss me off, you know.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Has she seen it?
I'm pretty sure, because it's on multiple floors of the same woman.
Damn. What do you think makes that happen? Why do you think why is that
Immaturity, you know.
I mean, like they just don't like her?
No, they love her, but they should go about it showing it the wrong way, you know. It's not nothing like, you know, oh, you know, she's ugly. It's like, oh, she's beautiful, I want to do stuff with her, you know, that type of stuff. But it's, you know, it's inappropriate.
Damn, well, this got pretty heavy pretty quick, more than I expected. Have you guys all had this sort of experience?
Well, you know, I work with office ladies and I work with the ladies that we have on the field, so there's actually a difference between them, you know. The ladies you see on the field, they have harder skin, you can say, you know, they can take jokes, it's a different way they approach things. They see the drawing and it's just a drawing, you know. Versus somebody here from the office sees that it's gonna hit human resources and it's gonna explode real quick.
Do you think the women in the office are too sensitive or the women in the field are not sensitive enough?
I think they're being exposed at different levels, so it's a layer of skin that develops when you're in the field that you have to let stuff roll off your back.
The environment makes them change, you know.
Me personally, I mean, I just saw it the other day. It was just a conversation I was walking by, and the guy said something, I forget what, and I mean, you could tell she has thick skin because she said, hey, and she stopped him right there, and that was it. He didn't say nothing else. You know, she had control over the whole situation. It's like she wasn't gonna put up with it, you know?
I'm just interested to know if you feel like the change that's happening in the country, which we feel like we're having this change all over the place, if that's happening down here on a construction site in Texas, or if it's just some conversation people are having in New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this is something that's been going on already since long before it started going in the media. It's just outlined more now with everything that's going on. When I first started working in construction, there were hardly no women at all out there. And once it started popping out more and more, you did start hearing more issues with them, you know. The foremen had to talk differently because now it wasn't just the guys you're talking to, but hey, now there's a lady in the room, so you gotta change it up, you know. You can't just talk like if she's one of the guys, you know.
Do you think you understand sort of where the lines are, or have the lines changed?
I think that the line has always been there, but, you know, like you don't go up to, you should know not to go up to a woman and say, hey, I'm gonna grab you by the vajayjay, you know? That's just something you don't say.
I think that us as guys, we know where the boundary line is at. And the women, they actually set that line depending on who you're talking to. You know, there's some women that they're very clear about, hey, this is as far as you're gonna go. And there's some that will joke around with you more. And there's some jokes that you're like, in your mind, you're like, should I be really saying that? But she makes it seem like it's cool. So sometimes those boundaries get pushed a little further than what they are, you know.
You think guys who push those boundaries should get fired?
Yeah, some of these guys, like I said, it all depends because, you know, if the girl is okay with it, you know, and she's actually allowing it to happen, then she's playing along with the situation. So it's not something for you to get fired with because you're playing with it, you know. But then again, she shows up one day not in the mood to play, and that boundary was already crossed, you know.
Yeah. The guy got fired.
And then now the guy gets fired.
Cross it in the first place.
So everybody that's on the field has to go through my training class, and we set up those boundaries when we talk about women. You know, hey, this is as far as you're gonna go with women. You know, you can't mix business and personal, and we let them know. So when they're on the field, it's not a surprise that, hey, you know what, I wasn't supposed to be doing this or I wasn't supposed to be doing that. I think we can all tell you the same thing, that with experience, if you're gonna find your girlfriend in construction it's gonna go south one way or the other. You know, it's not gonna have a happy ending. You know, because that girl that you're working with, you gotta understand that there's other construction guys that are gonna be hitting on her, eyeballing her, and it's gonna bother you.
What's the worst thing you've heard in the past few months? Story that you've heard on the news?
I forget his name, but I think he's a director or something. Salma Hayek was talking about it, how she was abused through her career coming up.
Harvey Weinstein.
It makes you sick to see that how women sometimes they have to work twice as hard to get the job that a guy will get just coming to work.
The thing that I think somebody should get fired for is you being the leader, the head of the state, of the country, and you telling people you want to grab them by the JJ. I think that the president of the United States should be held to a higher standard than everyone else, So I think that's pretty bad.
I gotta tell you, this is not the stereotype of guys in construction that I expected, right? I mean, people say about people like you guys work in construction.
Yeah.
Woman walks down the street, you holler at her. Exactly.
I came from the Marine Corps, also infantry specifically, where they still don't have women in the infantry in the Marine Corps. I don't think that we need to change the entire environment. I think it's impossible to change what it is in construction specifically. It's been a men's workplace for so long, but I think that together we can work it out. I mean, the relationships are still going to build between men and women inside the workplace. If you don't build a relationship by going up and asking a girl, hey, let me grab your vajayjay, she's definitely not going to be the woman you're going to turn around and marry 5 years later. She's going to say no, and you need to know that and stop.
Do you feel like, looking back on your life now, after hearing these stories of women, that there are things maybe you did that you wish you hadn't done?
Yeah, when you're immature. In high school, there's definitely stuff that I did in high school. I'm a grown man now. I feel like at a certain age, you should definitely grow out of it.
Yeah, I don't know what the MeToo movement is, but
You don't.
But my big changing point, I guess, was my daughters. They're getting older now, and I think, like Keith was saying, back when I was in school, I was a lot different, and I think of them in school now. They're going to be going into junior high soon, and imagining all the things that I used to do with girls, how I used to approach them and stuff in school, and I got to teach them, and I'm trying to set an example for them how men should be.
There are women these days who are coming out and saying, look, this guy was an asshole to me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and I want him to be punished for it now. What do you think about that? Is that fair?
I think it should have been brought up then. Why now? I mean, if there's proof or something, or depending on how bad it was, I guess, yes, you can go forward. But if it's in the past and there's no way to prove it, how's his word against her word, right?
I think with the Me Too movement, that's the whole point of it is, you're not crazy for bringing this up now. I know you were scared back then, but, Me Too. I know from personal experience of people who've been, touched, and, it's just demoralizing. It messes with your soul, it messes with your psyche, and you don't want to bring it up to anyone because you don't want nobody to look at you in that light. So it's like, okay, now you got the strength. Like, we matured from talking bad to women, they matured, and they're like, okay, well, now I want everybody to know what type of person he was, depending on what it is, or he still might be, especially if someone comes out and say, hey, he did this to me, and it's not believable because he was a lovable person, well, hey, guess what? 15 years ago, he was doing the same thing, so.
I have to just I have to push back on you guys a little bit, because you guys are all talking like you're very open to this conversation. You're very ready to talk about this with the women in your lives and talk about, with the women that you work with. But is there nothing in you that's like nervous now about, as we're changing the understanding of what it is that can get you fired, what it is that can get you in a lot of trouble?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's in the back of your head all the time, and especially when it's thrown in your face over and over on the news, you definitely have to think, dang, should I, say this, or should I look at her this way, or, you got to change some stuff about you, because like I said, we're all men. It's not like we're angels. We look at women, we might have said something to a woman, but, now that it's coming out that, hey, you might lose your livelihood, and, everybody's talking about it, everybody's getting the strength to talk about it now. It's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't.
Now, whenever I have to deal with the woman that we have a situation at work, I have to have a witness with me, because if something goes out, she says that I said something, it has to be a witness to what was going on.
Women are not angels that don't lie, you know. There's definitely women out there that get mad at men. Maybe they wanted to talk to you and you didn't talk to them. And, you know, they switch fix on in their head, hey, you know, it's MeToo movement. Let's say that he tried to, you know, sexually harass me and get him fired. You know, it's my word versus his, and my word is stronger right now because there's a whole movement behind it.
You guys feel the same way about it?
It's better to always have somebody there as a witness. I mean, it's like a policy that's unwritten sometimes.
You don't think it's going to be harder to be a guy in the next few years?
I think change is difficult, you know, everything that we're going through, but eventually everything's just going to settle down because it's a whole new generation taking over. You know, you got to understand that a lot of the generation that's here now, it's old school. You know, a lot of them from the 70s and 60s that they were used to. It's a man's world, you know.
Hopefully us millennials are a little more open-minded too.